And I do not, I really can't get with the, my mom is my therapist, my friends are my therapist, my spouse is my therapist. No, no, you guys, no, no. Therapists are professionals and they're like, hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name's Vanessa, your girl, your friend, and this is my channel about all things moving abroad. I'm an American who is moving abroad, and I'm documenting my process, my challenges, my realities. So let's dive in. If this is the type of content you're looking for, if you're someone who is interested in moving abroad, or someone who is critical of our culture and not critical in a nasty way, but maybe someone who's just looking at the life that you've built, the customs and the norms that were pushed onto you as an American. If you're someone who is looking at that or interested in that kind of content, you're in the right place. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe because you're going to love the videos coming out, okay? You're going to get fed daily. I'm posting every day for the next 30 days, and I'm going to keep posting after that too. I move in about 30 days. So this is the build up to the move. I obviously will be posting more once I move, but this is the pregame. This is the pregame. Okay. So get comfortable. Grab a warm beverage. Today, I want to talk about something that is so important, and it is mindset. A lot of the things I talk about are mindset, but today I want to talk about specifically being your own friend and the internal dialogue and the way we talk to ourselves. This is something that in 2025 I have done major work on. I'd say before 2025, it's something that I have been aware of. I think a few years ago is when I really started to be aware of how people talk to themselves. I first witnessed it in other people, and then I started to hear my own internal voice. So this has been a process for me. It's not something that I just unlocked in 2025 or, just in this video, but I want to talk about it because I think it's something, I know it's something that affects a lot of us. There are, books, there are books, there are movies. I mean, there's just so much research on this topic, this internal track that we have. And let me say, preface, I'm saying research. I am not a researcher. Well, I'm not a researcher. I'm not a professional researcher. But this video does not include any type of like scientific arguments. I'm not a scientist. But I am a learner and a grower and someone who appreciates the sciences and data and things like that. So I do just want to say that this information is more from my observations and the processes, the things I've done to befriend myself. So in this video, I just want to share some of the tools that I have used over the last few years to really get to this point where I am being my friend. I am my friend. And I didn't think that this topic was controversial, I'll say, and it's not controversial. I didn't think this was even a topic that people were like, why do you need to be your own friend? Until the Ariana Grande album came out last year. I don't want to get too off topic. I love Ariana Grande and her album cover with her like holding herself as her best friend. Such a beautiful visual. And her music, I think, is just so, especially this last album, so full of self-love and the awareness of how you talk to yourself, how you speak to yourself creates your reality. So I just want to dive into that a little bit more and share again what has been helpful to me. So I think the very first, the most simple sort of like example of how the way we talk to ourselves, the way we see things, how that will like literally manifest itself into our realities is like, the thing we learn when we are younger. Do you see the glass half full or the glass half empty? And this is just a really simple example, right? Like if you are someone who always sees the glass half full, then you might tend to be more optimistic in areas of your life. If you know someone, I know we all know someone who just seems to complain about a lot of things. And those types of people, they are glass half empty people, right? And that when you see things like that, I'm sure we all know someone who, because they see things, they see everything so negatively that literally like will manifest itself externally to the point where everything is negative. Vice versa. Now, this obviously doesn't mean like there are still realities to things, and you can be optimistic and still have really bad things happen to you, and you can be pessimistic and still have really good things happen to you. So I'm not trying to argue that like it's not magic, right? Like the way I guess it's just not simple magic, right? The way that we see things is not going to like, okay, I see this cup and I see it half full. It's not going to automatically like the glass isn't going to just fill itself up. But there is a lot of truth, I think, around the way that our brains are like formed and the way that we are seeing things. Like that is the way that our external realities will begin to create themselves. So just a really simple, like from I feel like in elementary school, we learned the glass half empty, half full thing. Yo, I'm gonna be looking at my notes. I took notes today because this is like something, yeah, I journal before all of my videos, but I took notes. So you're gonna see me look down at my notes a little bit because I want to make sure I stay on track and I stay succinct in this conversation. Okay. So yeah, the way that we talk to ourselves. So there's a few things. Again, this has taken me years to like get to this point, but I wanted to just talk about the tools that I have used to really first gain the awareness of it. Like I think there's a few different steps. Gaining the awareness, even knowing, becoming aware that there is an internal dialogue in your head. Now I know there are people who I guess don't have this internal dialogue. If you're not one of those people, then I guess it doesn't apply to you. And maybe it's not a dialogue, but it's just like more like thought bubbles. But I'm pretty sure that all of us have like we have a soul, right? Like the things that we are telling ourselves, the things that are going on in our mind, the way that we react to something internally before we open our mouths. Like that's what I'm talking about here. Okay, so the first tool that I used was meditation. And I am someone who has been meditating, I'd say for about 5 years now, off and on. I'm not the most consistent person, or really when I do with meditation is I use it when I need to. And so when I first started, I was using it a lot. I was meditating like every day. I was using the Headspace app. Shout out Headspace. I love Headspace. And I will say in addition to the app, one thing I also used this year a lot was I listened to Headspace radio. So the meditation, again, I have been doing it, really pushing it on people since about 2020. And when I first started meditating in 2020, it was a lifesaver for me. It was during the pandemic, during craziness. My job was crazy. Obviously, the world was crazy. I was living in a place where it was crazy. And I think I felt like trapped. Like I was trapped in my head. I just had so many thoughts going on, so many fears. I was really afraid to go outside because it was like it was COVID and it was also like so racist. So if you were a black person in 2020, child, we made it through that year, but it was crazy. And so I started meditating. I don't even know, you know what it was? I actually the my previous employer, they had put on a meditation workshop. Shout out to I won't shout out the college and university is not the best place to work, but one thing they do is they have a lot of resources for their staff that you can take advantage of by being on campus. So I did really enjoy that. They had a meditation, like a wellness center on campus, and they offered a meditation course to the to staff and faculty. This was amazing. This just opened my world so much. We would just, it was like 30 minutes a morning. And we had a meditation teacher who like actually guided us through meditation, which I think was very helpful because a lot of people, I think they think of meditation and they're like, okay, just close your eyes and you breathe. And it's like, there's more of a strategy to meditation instead of just closing your eyes and breathing. And I think a lot of people, especially Westerners, we just like like oh that's silly stuff or like sort of like scuff I don't even know the word, put our nose up to it. I have tried to push meditation so much on so many people, and I still feel like a lot of people are still really hesitant to it. So having this woman who talked us through it was so helpful. And so I did that course and then I started doing meditation. And what on Headspace and what the meditation allowed me to do is really become aware of the thoughts in my mind. So I always recommend when you start meditating, you start like very little. Start with like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. You don't need to meditate for a 20-minute session on your first go. And when you do that over time, It is very easy sometimes for me to spend the whole 5 minutes thinking about something, like following some storyline in my head, and then the person's like, "Okay, time's over," and I'm like, "Oh shoot!" Like I just spent half of that meditation in another place. When that happens, that's okay. That is observing that, ooh, my mind's really busy. I wasn't actually able to like fully quiet my mind for this full 5 minutes. Like, it's okay. I think another huge thing that we do with meditation, especially maybe the way it's designed on Headspace, is like you do the meditation, and if your mind trails off, people are like, well, it failed. And it's like, it's not a failure if your mind trails off during meditation. If you catch yourself doing that while you're meditating, what you can do is like, oh, I was thinking this, and you notice it, and then you let that thought go. And that's it. And then you come back to your breathing. So even like this, messing up or not being able to meditate for the full time, when you do it repeatedly, you really start to recognize and become aware of some of the same stories or the same stories or the same dialogues or adjectives that you were using in your mind to describe and think about things. And doing this repeatedly, the meditation, again, shout out to the Radio Headspace. I love their episodes. The episodes are like everyday sort of stories about how we think about situations. So this repeated practice, doing this every day for an extended amount of time, I really now am in this place where I'm like so aware of my mind and what's going on in it. Not at all times, like some days are better than others, but I'm really able to catch and just observe and not judge, but like see what I'm telling myself and yeah, observe that, right? And like, am I talking to myself negatively? Am I talking to myself positively? That was the first step in this awareness of my thoughts on the road to befriending myself and talking to myself kindly and like, yeah, like loving my internal me and my internal Vanessa, who I've been from since I came into this world till when I left. I do not have enough time in this video to talk about like inner child work, and I don't even know if I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that in this video, but that's, a lot of what I'm talking about is hinting at that. When we are talking to ourselves, our internal dialogue is typically formed in childhood. So the way that we talk to ourselves at 34 or 35, typically these are habits and perspectives that we picked up when we were younger. Whether or not it was, in the home. Remember, we heard our parents talk to themselves this way, or media is very big too. So a lot of things when we were young, when we are younger, we're absorbing so much information, and that information is still in us when we are older adults, and it's going to affect the way that we see. It's going to affect our output. Everything that's inside of us ultimately affects our output. So that's the first one. The meditation was so, so helpful. The second resource that I have utilized in the past few years are support groups. Now, I'm not going to get into the specific support group I was in this video. I'm just not ready to share that yet on the internet. One day maybe I will. Like this whole process is about me being vulnerable and sharing my truth. I'm not ready to share the specific support groups I was in, but I have been a part of two different support groups over the last few years. And these, oh, group work like is so amazing. And again, another thing where when I tell people to do it, or just not even tell people to do it, when I tell people about it, a lot of people are like shocked by it. I think because, the vulnerability, it's scary, and it's obviously like, wait, it's one thing for me to share this with myself or a therapist. Now you want me to go speak with a group. But I'm telling you guys, when you start to attend group work, if you were someone who's open to therapy and open to growing and open to like really looking at yourself to live a more peaceful life. The group work, oof, the group work blew everything out of the water. The groups I was in were very focused on our internal dialogue because they're focused on, yeah, like what we went through as children and how we show up as adults. And that argument that our input as children affects us, our output as adults is like was the main focus of these groups. So, we focus a lot on that theory. So there are a lot of readings just about that, about like how what you go through when you're younger might show up when you're older. But even more than that, more than the readings, the sharing is so impactful. When you have a wound that's so hard to look at that you have tried to forget it, like literally, that is the way we survive. When trauma, when bad things happen to us, we try and forget it. We put it in a safe place. So when you have a wound that maybe you've been carrying for your whole life, for decades, for years, and you hear someone else like shine light or call attention to or share that same or very similar wound, it just feels so like a weight off of your shoulders. It feels like someone's giving you a hug. It feels like a friend who you never knew you needed or would have because you never maybe knew that other people were going through these kinds of things, right? My trauma specifically is something that I did not talk about growing up. So when I got to be an adult, I didn't think anyone had these issues. So hearing and sharing things about our vulnerabilities, our traumas, our pain points, things like that, hearing that other people went through it too, it just feels so, again, like giving someone gave you a hug. Someone is you feel so seen. Like someone's like, "Hey, I see that I went through this too." And you don't even have to. And I think that like the amazingness comes from like someone will share something and it's not like you're asking them. Someone will just share something that they've been through and then you're like, "Whoa, I went through that too." So it's not like you go up to people and you're like, "Hey, did you go through this?" But it just comes up organically through the sharing and that type of organic vulnerability, being in a place where no one's looking for anything other than to be healed, right? And to bring peace to themselves. And I'll say one more thing with these support groups. The reason why I think that they're great too is because they're typically moderated. So it's different than, just talking with friends. It's different than talking with friends. I'm going to talk about that, the friends and family thing in a second. It's different than talking just with a group of people because typically the two groups I was in, they were both moderated. One was moderated by a professional, and then one was moderated by like a governing, it's not really governing, but like a body. There were rules there, there's rules regarding like crosstalk, regarding commenting on people's what people actually share, things like that. So I think the moderation aspect of it too is also very, very helpful because it's like a safe space that's like moderated too. It's not just like a free for all, let's share our trauma. And even the better thing about these groups, you guys, they are typically like free or I mean you can find them for free or for price very low. So one of the groups I go to is free. Some people might already know what group I'm talking about. That's fine. If you like it's like if you know, then you know what I'm talking about. Some of these are free. And then another one that I went to that was moderated by a therapist, it was like I think $30, maybe even less. It was less than $30 a session. It was like a 5, maybe 8 week thing. So again, it wasn't cheap, it wasn't free, but it was like affordable. I think more affordable than what people think. I think sometimes when you think like group therapy, there are group therapy, like programs and trips and things that cost thousands of dollars, but there are also very affordable options that you can find just by like searching. So yeah, the support groups were so amazing. I highly recommend taking a look. There's really support groups for so many things, men, women, all the trauma you can think of, men, women, everyone, every gender. There's a support group for so much. So I highly recommend just doing a quick Google search and seeing if this is something you're interested in, looking into group work because yeah, I would do it again. I'm going to keep doing it. It was really so amazing. Spoken about this before. I've spoken about my therapist so much on this channel, but therapy also has just been so amazing and helpful for me in, befriending myself. And I think of therapy as the chance to, like therapy alone will not fix you, right? Going to therapy once a week or once every other week or even once a month will not fix you. It's the work you do in between the sessions that really is what is it starts to like when you start to figure things out. So the way I work with my therapist right now is a lot of the resources that I'm doing during the week or like the books I'm reading or the support groups I'm going to, I I like break it down or talk even further through what I talk through those tools even more in therapy. So having these sessions just like allows me to further think through and like really be aware of that of the voice and like the goals I have with reframing that voice. So my therapist has been so helpful, so amazing. I really believe that everyone could benefit from therapy, and I do not. I really can't get with the my mom's my therapist, my friends are my therapist, my spouse is my therapist. No, no, you guys, no, no. Therapists are professionals and they're licensed, and they are even more than that. They are, what is the word? Therapists are a God, I can't think of the word. Therapists do not have a stake in your life, right? Like they are giving you like a non-biased, like everyone has bias, right? But they are like I just some people are when they say that their mom is their therapist, and I'm talking specifically about a pop star right now, one of the biggest pop stars in the world. Um, hearing things that your mom is your therapist, I think that's great if your mom is great and healthy. But most of us have traumas and most of us have things that we went through that we don't figure out. And having a mom, like being a mom doesn't mean that you're trauma free. So I think it's a little when people say that their mom is their therapist, I, you know, I think it's beautiful to have a relationship with any parent like that, but parents have their own traumas too, and they have their own limitations. And what I think when we rely on our parents or our friends or our spouse, people who are people that like, I know we didn't choose our family, but like who we are choosing to be close to, um, they tend to have a lot of the same issues we have. Like energy attracts energy. I have a lot of friends who are overachievers. I am too, and I think a lot of us sort of struggle with a lot of the same overachieve a lot of us struggle with the same things that overachievement brings, right? So I'm not going to rely on my friends to be my therapist when I am trying to fight this overachievement like nonsense. So yeah, I go to therapy, y'all. I really, really do think everyone can benefit from therapy if you are intentional about it, and if you know that not every single person, like I'm on my like maybe third or fourth therapist now in my life, and she's the best one I've ever had. Like she is amazing. And I've had other therapists before that are like okay. So if you've tried therapy one time and you didn't like the person, or even two times and you didn't like the person, I still say maybe keep trying. Like if the interest is there, keep trying. Therapists are all different, just like human beings. We're all different. They're all going to bring different things to the table. So just keep trying. I think that the right these tools have been so helpful, but even more is even I want to say even more, these tools have been helpful, but they are not one-time tools, or they're not even like 1 month tools. It's really the everyday commitment, taking little things, little like tokens or like little drops from each of these tools, the meditation, the support groups, my therapist, so many other resources that I don't have time to talk through in this video because I want to make these videos like not super long, but there are tons of other resources I've also utilized, books, things like that. But it's the everyday commitment to the practice. So it's the meditation every day. It's the journaling. It's the really, gaining the awareness of how I'm talking to myself. And to change that dialogue, you literally have to practice it. I'm talking to myself every single day. And the way I like to think about this is I'm 34. I started this work about a year ago, so maybe around 33. But I had years up until then when I had no idea of how I was talking to myself or the importance of how I was speaking to myself. So that's, years of negative self-talk and a negative track in my mind that I'm having to like rewire. So just really emphasizing that this is something that will take time. It takes everyday commitment to being aware of your thoughts. And I think, finally in this place now where some of the things are sticking, some of them are not. And that just means I have to keep like recorrecting myself and like readjusting when I see something and my initial response is to put a limiting thought or a limiting belief on it. But fortunately now I'm in a place where I can be like, well, wait, why do I think that? Or like, why do I believe that? And then sort of like backtracking, like, and getting to the bottom of why. Now, obviously, some things like I might keep asking myself why, and I might have the same answer. But like really questioning, uh, why certain things come into my head and reframing them as positive. Because again, the thing that in this video specifically, I'm talking about negative self-talk. So that's something that I have been hard on myself. A big one is using should statements, right? Like I should do this, I should have done this, I should have this by now. No. Should statements are just not great. Shoulda, woulda. If you've watched Insecure, I remember there was this episode with Molly talking about should statements. But that's a big one for me right now is catching myself in should statements, like really putting myself down like, oh, well, you made one video, but you should have made three. Like that's a little like negative voice in my head. And I can catch myself and be like, well, okay, first, anytime there's a should statement, I'm like, I'm done with it. Like I literally am like, no, I'm not listening to that little voice. But I want to reframe it and be like, maybe I should have, no, I could have, but I did one, I did two. And that's what I could do, and that's enough for me. And again, like talking to yourselves as your friend. I have a lot of friends who struggle with this. Again, myself included. I think that's how we were attracted to each other. But it's so easy to, I think, catch it when it's your friends talking bad about themselves, like just being down on themselves. Like it is so easy for people to just be like, I'm stupid. I'm not good with money. I'm fat. Like, oh my God, the way women talk, the way we talk about ourselves, ladies. Um, it's so easy to hear another one of our friends say this and immediately be like, no, why would you say that about yourself? And what I want us all to do is practice that same practice with ourselves and really be kind to ourselves. Um, it's just it feels really good, and I know that the only way I'm able to even show up on YouTube right now is because I've been doing this work and I'm enjoying it and I love myself today more than I ever have. And it's work, it's a process. Like I didn't just wake up like I love myself. I mean, today I did, but again, like it's been a process. It's been years of like really building up this internal dialogue and talking to myself kindly. I think it's something that so many of us would benefit from. And again, it starts with ourselves. That this is something that we only have to work on with ourselves. But once we start do it, and I've started doing it, it's like I'm showing up. I think just as a more like happier, compassionate person because I have the compassion for myself first. Anything that we want to work on in our relationships, we have to start with ourselves first. So if we want to work on being better friends to others, or a better spouse to others, or a better mother, sister, daughter, anything that starts with ourselves first. So, I hope this is helpful. Love yourself, okay? Whatever you do today, love yourself. You're doing a great job. We all are. Thank you for making it this far in the video. If you have made it this far, give me a like, okay? Hit the like, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe. And I want to hear from you guys. Is this something that, resonates with you? I feel like so many of us are hard on ourselves. I feel like American culture, it is like really, really, I think more common to just like bash yourself and talk bad about yourselves. And that's why I loved Ariana Grande's album. And I thought that I was like shocked at some of the feedback on it, like people really being like, why do you need to be your own best friend? It's like, we are all we got. Like, what's that song? You're on your own, kid, okay? We're on our own. Truly. Like there are people who love us, but we are on our own. And it's up to us to love ourselves so that other people can love us too. All right. I'm done. I'm done preaching, y'all. Again, hit that thumbs, hit that subscribe. I'm building my channel. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.